My name is Kathleen Naglee. I'm currently the head of school at the International School of Helsinki. I've been in education now for over 30 years, and I have a wide array of interests in education, spanning from topics around diversity and equity to the future of tech, artificial intelligence, VR. I have some very good relationships with the EdTech startup industry and like to coach those who are thinking about what new products might be. And I think, generally speaking, my real passion, though, is how to create authentic connections between teachers and students. Saying you're a progressive school, there's a few different angles. One is that we are aiming to be a truly inclusive school, and most schools are not designed to meet the needs of individuals. Schools have been historically devised to meet the middle, the average kid, and maybe to accelerate those who are high performers on certain assessments. What we're saying is that each young person has value, and that each of us have strengths and challenges, and that all of us can become our authentic selves, and we can celebrate our authentic selves. To do that well means that we need to dig into how we think about school as a whole, and we see it through 4 lenses. We see it through well-being, autonomy, connection to the real world, and a sense of belonging. And these are the 4 values that guide everything that we do at our school. So we have incredible academic success, but it's not something that we are focused on. What we're focused on is an individual feeling good in school, and that they have the ability to have true curiosity in their program, and find topics and ways to express themselves in a way that feels true to themselves. That for most of us, there is this dynamic in both schools and workplaces of you working alone and getting things done, and then working with others. We know that in the modern workplace, for new ideas to come forth and for new innovations to happen, you often need to talk to somebody about it. You need to brainstorm with others, think through a group. But the way we collaborate often misses key power dynamics. And this is something that I explore in this podcast quite often. We talk about the hidden power dynamics in collaboration, where you think that you are being equitable, but you often find that there may be a supervisor or somebody who has more power in a setting, who is actually unconsciously leading the group towards a certain conclusion. And this often happens as well in power dynamics with those who are marginalized in our communities. So we're kind of exposing this issue. Collaboration, if done effectively, creates deep connections between you and others that makes your work feel meaningful and purposeful. And there's a sense of joy when you're doing things together. This is part of our human condition and our evolution to socialize and to do this well. I think there's a lot of hype around artificial intelligence as being a tremendous threat. And of course, all new technology has threats to it. But what I think it threatens is the old style of schooling. The old style of schooling is based on rote learning. It's based on routine tasks, and those are super easy to assess. And when you are built a system around routine tasks and rote learning, then we find that artificial intelligence outperforms us every time. So I think it exposes this weakness. So when New York City, for example, says they're going to ban ChatGPT, I just had to laugh at this because it's like banning Google, it's banning a calculator in a classroom. And I've gone through this whole era from first, whether or not you could use calculators in classes, whether or not you could use a computer in class, whether you could use your phone in class, all these things. What I think we're going to see is that ChatGPT and these large language models are going to be good for handling the routine tasks of kind of the everyday verbiage that we do. And I often say, how much time do I waste in email where I want to give a positive response to someone, but I'm like, dear so-and-so, thank you so much for your kind inquiry, blah, 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 blah. And let the computers talk to each other, give a positive response, and let ChatGPT frame that for me. I see it as a co-collaborator, and I've been playing with it, for example, and giving myself tasks, because great learning is when you are curiously exploring possibilities. So I gave a task to myself that I wanted to try out that there are some AI-assisted animation programs for presentations. And so I had some text that I wanted to possibly be a script. I went to ChatGPT and I told ChatGPT that you are a script writer for animated shorts. Here's your client. They want this information, and give me a script of 1 to 2 minutes long. And it produced that. I then popped that into an AI presentation animation software, and it was off. I played with it. I changed it. I actually felt that I learned the material really well, because I'm like editing, well, I don't want that in the script, or this is too long in the picture. So in the end, and I did this all over eating oatmeal, in 20 minutes, I had an animated short that was, of a professional quality I could have never have made just on my own. And of course I could fix it and I could tweak it and I could play with it, but it made my my need resolve very, in an efficient manner. So how we co-collaborate with robots, with AI, has to be an acknowledgement that the computer can do some of it better, and that's okay. And what do we do better? We need to understand. And I think much of my talk's gonna be centered around this. What do we do as humans better than the computer that we want to strengthen in this next era? I often tell EdTech startups that if your program is enhancing creativity of a student, then this is going to be a powerful app or addition. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, we started using touchscreen technology. And when it first came to schools, everyone was focused on typing skills of students. And what we found out immediately is the most powerful device of the first touchscreen technology was the camera and the ability to do video. And this is what kids loved, and this is what they wanted to do. And they took, they worked on, they were in their PE class and they did some gymnastics, and someone filmed it, and then they could say, okay, I need to change this. So this kind of high level creativity being made easier for someone, as I think the directions that EdTech needs to go. Where they have gone wrong in the past decade is that they have been working on those routine tasks for students. So it's a typical program. This is a math program. You're going to be shooting, asteroids and learning your times tables kind of app, which students tire of immediately, and there's no joy in this. We know from neuroscience that what we're interested in, we have an emotional connection to. So I think that if we look at TikTok, we understand why TikTok is so powerful, because it creates an emotional connection through entertainment, and also that the algorithm is serving us, right? It's showing more of what we like, what our eyes stay on to, which is quite frightening at times. But why does it work? Because we are emotionally engaged with what's happening in front of us. And the trend for EdTech is to understand what is emotionally engaging for us as humans and what helps us with creativity, I think. I think, you know, if we look at early years, we'll still need to develop literacy and the basic skills. Literacy and numeracy aren't going to go away from younger years. It's when we do that shift to middle school where I think we'll start seeing the changes. And I think the changes that we'll have to work on is that one is how the school is a place of connection. Because our modern world is decreasing connection between us as humans, which is a physical well-being need for us to interact with others, to touch others. So I think there will be a different emphasis on what I'd call embodied learning, where our bodies are a key factor to the experience. So it could be outdoor learning, where you're doing forest studies. It could be, things like having, there's a time when PE became very rigid, military over time. Now thinking of PE as a lifelong learning habits for our bodies, CrossFit kind of things that kids like. I see that, again, creativity is a skill that has to be taught. It's not what we imagine it to be. We've known from the research for a long time. It's not these magical people who are artists and do wonderful things. We all have creativity. We need to teach ourselves how to have perseverance in a task, to design, reflect, take risks, and do that multiple times. So I think we'll see that multiple iterations is a sign of success for our students. Instead of having like one project with one assessment, then it's done and you're over and you move on, versus, okay, you did this once, let's do it 2 times, 3 times. Now we're going to do this with a group, and now you're going to get feedback from others. So I think we're going to be seeing that this human element of what we need physically and mentally will have to be the focus of school. And it's going to change so rapidly. And part of my speech is about how we're uncertain how it's going to play out. But what we want is adaptable young people. I'm in my mid-50s. I can still learn. I can still do things. I can still play with AI. I can play with VR. I have to be ready to be curious and have the beginner's mind of like a 4-year-old who's excited about everything in the world. I hope what they take away from, so for school leaders, I hope they understand that that they must accelerate what we already know is good practice with students, which is about individualization, which is about leaning into the uncertainty of projects and tasks, less emphasis on standardized testing, these sorts of pieces. I think for the ed tech community that might be listening, is trying to understand as they develop new products, again, what is really capturing human needs, and not so much what they think we might need in school. And that's why there's I'm in the Nordic region where there's many ed tech startups, and that fail. The rate of failure of them is extremely high, because again, they're focused on old school style tasks. So we need to shift that towards human needs.